So, the question was, is Lamar Jackson the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history? Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm the Fantasy Football Strategist, your NFL breaking news source, and the dynasty and redraft implications behind said news. In today's video, we're going to be discussing whether or not Lamar Jackson is the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history. This is the most excited I've ever been to do a video. Please remember to like and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. With that being said, let's get into the video. In an article from NFL.com, Cam Newton, who leads the league in career quarterback rushing touchdowns with 75, and who just so happens to have an incredibly high view of himself, doesn't think that he's the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history. He thinks that Lamar Jackson is. We're going to see if we end up agreeing with him. Looking at Lamar Jackson's career rushing statistics, they're insane. He's had at least 695 rushing yards every single year. This is despite dealing with some health issues from year to year. Imagine if he had been able to stay healthy. He's also rushed for over 1,000 yards twice and over 1,200 yards one time. Rushing touchdowns could stand to improve. He's had 7 twice before, and he had 5 this past year, which is great. It's definitely way more than normal for a quarterback in general, but it would be great if we could see him trend more towards 8 to 10 per year. But hey, you'll take what you can get, considering his rushing floor makes him one of the safest weekly bets at quarterback. He is matchup proof for that reason. Also, if Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews can really step it up this year, and Isaiah Likely as well, hopefully the Ravens utilize more 2 tight end sets to get both of them on the field, his passing numbers should take an upward trajectory as well. As far as his skill is concerned, it's impossible to touch him. He has nasty juke moves. His stop-start ability is among the best in the NFL. He has a wicked spin move, and he combines that with elite agility and elite vision. He knows exactly where to go. He's getting there before you get there. You're not touching him. And if you somehow get an angle on him and he can't juke you out, you're still not touching him because he'll slide. It's honestly incredible. Look at his 50-yard rushing touchdown against the Bengals where he whips out a nasty spin move if you don't believe me. Let's take a look at his advanced rushing stats to see just how he's utilized. He ranked second in the NFL among quarterbacks with 148 rush attempts. He ranked second in carries per game with 9.3. He ranked third in the NFL in red zone carries with 32. He also ranked third in the NFL in red zone carries per game with 2. His 821 rushing yards were first in the NFL. His 51.3 rushing yards per game were also first in the NFL. And his 5 rushing touchdowns were good for fourth in the NFL. So he's among the league leaders in basically every rushing statistic for quarterbacks. The Ravens know how to use him and play to his strengths, and they've really done this his entire career. If you remember back in the day, he was a very poor passer. He used to be what Anthony Richardson is now, an elite rushing quarterback with tons of fantasy upside that just, we were worried about him and his longevity because he did need to improve in the passing game. Well, he definitely did that. He's also won 2 MVPs, so it's quite the success story. Oh, that wasn't good enough for you? Well, listen to this. In this past year's divisional round, Lamar Jackson became the first and only NFL player to ever have 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 100-plus rushing yards, and a 100 or greater passer rating in an NFL game. You want to talk about a dual-threaded quarterback? That is exactly what a dual-threaded quarterback does. He breaks records in terms of passing and rushing at the same time. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for than a quarterback that can slice and dice you through the air, but is just, if not more dangerous on the ground? He is the definition of a dual-threat quarterback. The most impressive part about this game was he only threw 22 passes and rushed 11 times to do this. That's otherworldly efficiency. Let's take a look at where Lamar Jackson currently resides in the all-time rushing quarterback list. Remember, Most of these players have either A, retired already, so they've already had an entire career, or they're nearing the end of their NFL career and they're definitely declining. Lamar Jackson isn't declining. He has plenty of time to well exceed where he currently resides on this list. The career rushing yards leader in NFL history is Michael Vick with 6,109. Cam Newton resides in second place with 5,631. Russell Wilson's in third place with 5,307. Lamar Jackson's in fourth place with 5,258 rushing yards. And Randall Cunningham wraps up this list with 4,928 career rushing yards. If you notice something, the only active NFL quarterback in this list besides Lamar Jackson is Russell Wilson, who is very much so regressing. In fact, Denver took over $60 million of dead cap just to get rid of him. He's definitely not going to be getting too many more career rushing yards. Then we have Michael Vick, well retired, Cam Newton retired, and Randall Cunningham, who's been retired for a long time. So none of these players are really going to be competing with him. I mean, look at the games played. Lamar Jackson's only played in 86 career games, whereas everyone else on this list has played in at least 143. Think about the disparity there and how much more impressive that makes it that Lamar Jackson is in fourth place. Now that we've delved into the career leaders in total rushing yards at the quarterback position, let's look at career leaders in yards per carry. Michael Vick once again leads this list with 7.0 career yards per carry. Bobby Douglas is in second place with 6.5. Randall Cunningham is in third place with 6.4. Greg Landry is in fourth place with 6.2 career yards per carry. And Lamar Jackson is in fifth place with 6.0 even. When we think about this, it's also important to look at the total attempts. Devon Achane is an example of somebody that was incredibly efficient. It's just if he received more carries, his efficiency was probably going to go down. It's a lot easier to have a higher career yards per carry when you have less attempts. So really, in my opinion, the only comparable player here on this list, which it is more impressive, don't get me wrong, is Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson has 2 more career carries than Michael Vick, so it's definitely fair to say that Michael Vick is going to end up with a higher career yards per carry average. And that's not the end-all, be-all. It's just really impressive that these two guys are both on this list. Randall Cunningham is also on both of these lists. We're witnessing greatness at quarterback. Now that we've looked at career rushing yards and yards per carry among quarterbacks for their career, let's look at career yards per game. Here is where Lamar Jackson easily sets himself apart from the rest of the pack, and it's not even close. Michael Vick is the closest player at just under 20 less yards per game. Lamar Jackson leads the NFL in career yards per game with 61.1. Michael Vick is in second place at 42.7. And Michael Vick is widely regarded as one of, if not the best rushing quarterbacks ever. And Lamar Jackson averages almost 20 more rushing yards per game. At this point, Lamar Jackson's going to have the most career rushing yards in NFL history, and it's not even going to be remotely close by the end of his career, even if we see a bit of a decline as he gets older. He's probably going to be leading by over 1,000 yards, maybe 2,000 yards over any other NFL quarterback when it's said and done. One thing to note is Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen are also on this list, and while they're amazing rushing quarterbacks, look at the disparity between them and Lamar Jackson. It's ludicrous. And a shout-out goes to Cam Newton, who's also on this list. Referencing the article that I mentioned earlier in this video, Lamar Jackson only needs to meet his career average of 876 rushing yards in order to eclipse and unseat Michael Vick as the number 1 career rusher in the NFL among the quarterback position. He could accomplish that feat this year if he just meets his average. He's only 27 years old. Think about how many more career rushing yards he's going to have than everyone else. It's not even close. This man has won 2 MVPs. He's one of the most elusive rushers, nasty juke moves, spin moves, stop-start agility. Absolutely wild. One of the most efficient quarterbacks there is. If this man had had weapons his entire career, his numbers would be even further up. This guy is an elite QB1 for your dynasty and redraft formats, and is one of the few quarterbacks that is capable of single-handedly winning you your fantasy season if he stays healthy. And now, while health has been a concern, he's one of the few NFL quarterbacks that could get you a 50-point game. He could get you 20 points from his rushing alone in any individual game. He's an elite QB1 for dynasty and redraft formats. He's a top 4, top 5 quarterback, and if you disagree with that, you're just wrong. There's nothing else to say about it. His floor and ceiling combination is absolutely wild. Really, the only one who outmatches that is arguably Josh Allen and possibly Jalen Hurts. CJ Stroud, for instance, who's rated as the QB3 in a lot of dynasty circles, is never, ever going to give you the ceiling and floor combination that Lamar Jackson provides. Never. He's a great real-life quarterback. He's just not Lamar Jackson for fantasy. So, the question was, is Lamar Jackson the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history? Well, based on the fact that he averages almost 20 more career rushing yards per game than the second closest player, Michael Vick, he's likely to break the career rushing yards record for a quarterback this year. He's still only 27. He has a nasty array of jukes, spins, hurdles, stop-start ability, and awareness and vision. I think so. I really don't think it's going to be debatable very soon. And by the time he hangs up his cleats, he's going to be so far ahead of the competition that the only thing he's going to be lacking is his career rushing touchdowns. But he's still going to be very high up on the list, even if he just averages 5 per year. This guy is insane and is one of the best, if not the best, athlete in the NFL. He is the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history. Book it. Well, you've seen my evidence for believing why he's the greatest dual-threat quarterback in NFL history. What do you think, though? Is he the greatest dual-threat quarterback to ever live? Is he not? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know why. I'm the Fantasy Football Strategist, your NFL breaking news hub, and the dynasty and redraft implications behind said news. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to cover something in the future. Thank you, and have a good day.